Solid. Okay, so this is crazy work, but I just caught this, like, wolf spider. I don't even know what it is. I don't know if you guys can see that. This thing's fucking huge. It doesn't look that big right now, but, well, it's not the biggest spider I've ever seen, but it's a good 2 inches breadth. But I'm gonna take this baby outside. I don't want to kill it because, you know, these things are good. They kill a lot of bad bugs, so. But I also don't want to call it pass when I'm sleeping, so it's gotta go one way or another. So let's get it outside. What is up, YouTube? Hope you guys are all freaking doing well. Hope this records correctly because I forgot my mic. But as you can probably tell, it's a little bit earlier than I normally record the first check-in video, and that is because today is my rest day. So currently programming about one rest day a week, which is just on Sunday because the gym opens at a weird time. Usually I have stuff I have to do anyway. And so, you know, upper lower 3 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I could just go into a 7-day like I was doing last year, but I'm thinking I want to try and incorporate a rest. Woke up today after more sleep than I've had basically the past week and a half. Still felt a little bit of something in my biceps. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take a rest day. We'll see how it goes, at least for the next week or two. Gotta give like a few weeks to just figure it out, feel it out. And ultimately, yeah, what am I missing? 52 sessions a year, but I'm still making 313 of them. I can do math, and so that's good enough for me. But, you know, it is ultimately about systemic fatigue and lowering systemic fatigue, keeping those gains on the table, rolling consistently. That's what's going to give you progress over time. Egoing and pushing beyond your recovery is not going to, and I've done that too many times for certain. So that said, I thought I'd record a little bit of a nutrition check-in and a training check-in for you guys, just because a lot of times in my videos nowadays it's pretty succinct. I kind of go over the day at a very micro level, don't really go into the long-term how to plan. So as you guys know, the video before this was a bulk video, bulk 2. So we're officially in the bulk. Today would be bulk 3. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm in the bulk on my non-training days. I'm still thinking about that. But likely, I think likely I'll probably try maybe maintain. We'll see. But maybe we'll bulk. Maybe we'll bulk. But either way, today is bulk day 3 essentially. And so, how do I feel? Well, the scale is telling me 166, which is up about 2 pounds very quickly from my last routine check-ins, just like honestly a few weeks ago. You know, I was pretty much consistently, even when I was on vacation up in Vermont, a consistent like 163 / 4 in the morning. And so that +2, I'm not sure if that's like just fat already. That'd be a bit excessive to me because I'd be 2 pounds, 7,000 calories of surplus, which I do not believe I've hit anywhere near to in the past 2-3 weeks. And so I'm assuming it's just water. I have upped my salt, my sodium intake quite a bit, just from salting more and using Bragg's and stuff like that. Bragg's is just like an amino acid, like Coke. It's like a soy sauce alternative, basically, right? Made out of aminos, like soy aminos. So I like this stuff, but I don't use it that much. So I don't know where all my sodium would be coming from. Potentially also from fish, canned fish water, because I like to drink it because it has all the nutrients in it. One of my weird things, definitely not one of my favorite things with the girls, but you gotta do what you gotta do, right? So anyway, enough joking around. So on the macro scale, what is the plan going forward? So I'm gonna try and get off the street because it's gonna be loud with the cars. But essentially, bulking at 100 calorie surplus right now, which is very small, right? That is a pound of weight gain in 5 weeks. Is that enough? I don't know. We'll see. You know, my philosophy is it's better to start small and undershoot than overshoot on something like this, right? Because let's say, you know, this 100 calories is really just merely putting me in maintenance. Hey, you can gain muscle maintenance. You're not going to gain the most you can, but you can gain some. So if my weight is not going up as much as I want it to, by that point I can up the calories, right? If I were to start at like, you know, 300-400, which I think definitely would put me in a pretty big surplus, right? And if, you know, 2 weeks go by and I'm up already, you know, 2 pounds, it's like shit. I mean, 500 calorie surplus a day is a pound of weight gain a week, right? So if I'm up like 1.5 pounds in 2 weeks, I'm like, you know what, kind of fuck that one up, huh? So what can you do? You can't really go. I mean, at that point, you're not going to start a cut. You just started the bulk, right? It doesn't really make sense. So one of those things, better to start slow, ramp it up. And, even if I am gaining just a pound every 5 weeks, that's fine. I mean, you don't need to gain. The more studies we do, the more kind of experience we get. And also, studies or whatever, right? But the more you kind of look at natural bodybuilders, right? Not enhanced, because there is a difference in that with the rate of tissue growth and how much you can actually force that. A lot of enhanced lifters, especially older ones that have been doing the game for a while, whatever you want to call it, they don't lift, or they don't put themselves in a surplus that is more than maintenance, like much more than maintenance, right? A lot of these guys will stay lean all year round. In fact, a lot of natural lifters will stay leaner than enhanced lifters routinely. I've noticed, which is very interesting. So, it's like, what are you really forcing there, right? Are you forcing more growth, or are you just forcing more fat gain as a natural lifter by upping your bulk calories? So, something to think about. But that said, diet itself is pretty baseline. So every meal is essentially centered around one, a carb source, which is brown rice, which I tend to get about 330 calories worth, just about, I think, 2 servings of brown rice per meal, to 1/4 cup servings raw weight. So, do the macros, and I think it's like 90 grams raw weight brown rice, something like that, 92, give or take. But that is about what I do every meal for carbs, and then and that sometimes fluctuates. Like one meal I'll do 1.25, other meal I'll do like 0.75 in terms of the serving, just to kind of, depending on when the meal is, right? Or if I'm incorporating like other carb sources like fruit, yada, yada, yada. But a carb pass. For protein, this is something that I actually changed a few weeks ago. And I think I made a video on this, but essentially, muscle protein synthesis is largely mediated by how much leucine you get in one meal. Leucine is an amino acid, one of the 9 essential amino acids. And science has shown, this is a scientific study reference, I'm sorry, but if you're not getting above 2.5 grams of leucine per meal, you're not initiating muscle protein synthesis. So all my meals, I make sure in Chronometer, that's just the diet app I use. You gotta use one, guys. If you're not, it just makes everything a lot easier. You don't have to, but it makes it a lot easier. 2.5 grams of leucine at minimum per meal. And I'm usually hitting around 2.6, 2.7, right? Some meals 2.5. But for most meals, that means like on paper, 20 to 25 grams of protein from animal sources. So chicken breast is what I'm doing right now for meal 1, eggs for meal 2. Meal 3 is a combination of probably tuna and just a little bit of tuna, not much because of the mercury, and some more eggs. And then meal 4, mackerel for omega-3s, right, some sort of fatty fish, and a bit more chicken to kind of bring the protein up, because those tend to be a little bit lower protein per serving, the fish, because there's so much fat. But you need that for your brain and all that good stuff. And then meal 5 is just, I haven't incorporated it yet, but I'm going to start doing a red meat, so like beef heart, maybe a little bit of walnuts, because beef heart's pretty lean. And then combine that, with peas, maybe one or two of those meals that are a bit lower in protein, usually the tuna, the egg, and then the beef heart at the end, right? So generally 20 to 25 grams of protein from animal sources, sometimes as low as 17, and then like 5 to 10 coming from plant, which is usually rice or peas, maybe the combination, right? So that is basically the TLDR on the diet right now. It's pretty simple. On paper, basically same 5 meals a day. Variety though, not like the chicken and rice. I've done that, but it does get old kind of quick. And consistency is key. So if you can keep it going, that's freaking great. But it's simple. All whole foods. Nothing. Basically nothing not single ingredient, right? And even the sauces I use is like basically rags, and that's it. I do use a few hot sauces like Tabasco, so with vinegar, cayenne pepper, salt, pepper. That's basically it. So gut is feeling pretty good right now, not overwhelmed, not like bloated. Bread is a no-go right now. I'm making a few changes. Last year, I was doing a bit of bread here and there, and then in between that, being at uni last time and being here, I had a whole plethora of bread stuff, and my gut kind of suffered. So taking a bit of a break from that, seeing how it affects my physique and my kind of rate of weight gain. And also, I'm testing a bit of a theory I have. So I have an idea. Let me make sure it's recording real quick. That sucker wasn't. It's just gorgeous out. Look at that. I mean, it's so lucky on campus. But anyway, there's a theory I was developing. It's not like a theory. It's just common sense. But I call it nutrient mediated activity adaptation model. Basically, what I was saying is, if you're getting a lot of calories from stuff, right, but it is low nutrient density foods, highly processed foods, things like breads, hydrogenated oils, stuff that doesn't have a lot of nutrients left in them from the processing, right, just naturally, that's what happens when you heat and cool and bleach and iodize a bunch of stuff over and over and over again. Then your body is going to utilize those calories, sure, and store it as energy, but because it doesn't get the nutrients, you are going to be in search of more calories, you're going to be hungrier, and you're not going to actively be able to utilize those nutrients that would normally be found in the food to like upregulate your metabolism as you normally would be able to. So my theory was that, okay, if I can incorporate only whole foods and like slowly titrate it up, I don't know if that's the right word there, but slowly scale it up as I go into the bulk, then I should be able to ramp up my metabolism more than if I use lower quality, more processed foods. So that's the idea. Anyway, we'll have to see. That's going to take time to come to fruition, but if it does, maybe I'll be eating 5,000 calories in no time. I don't think so, but hopefully the rate of growth will be pretty stable and pretty lean, and that would be ideal. So that is the nutrition side of things pretty much. In terms of, and also I'll just go over meal timing real quick. So I wake up at 5 a.m., go to bed around 9. Really, I should be in bed by 8:30. I'm working on that. But first meal is basically right after I wake up. I record my morning check-in fasted, usually no water as well, just to kind of make sure the weight's pretty consistent. And then actually, I did drink a little bit though, like 15 minutes before I weighed this morning, so maybe that's why it's high. But and then I do, basically immediately after, as early as I can, throw my first meal, which is just chicken and rice, very simple, in the microwave, heat it up, and eat it at like 5:10, 5:15. So very, very early for meal number 1, but that is just to prevent myself from being in a fasted state as early as possible. I then eat basically every 3.5 hours. So post-workout is around 8, a bit smaller than a 3.5 hour window, but that's the smallest window during the day. After that, I get meal number 3 in at around 12:30. So usually give or take about 4 hours after meal number 2, usually around 12 to 12:30. And then meal number 4 is about 3:30, so about 3.5 hours after that. And then meal number 5 is about 7 p.m. Sometimes push that to 7:30. That's a wrap on the day. So, give or take from 5 to 7 waking time to 2 hours before I go to bed, I am consistently getting in protein and carbs, and for every meal I'm hitting that 2.5 grams of leucine, activating that muscle protein synthesis pathway and all that good stuff. So that is the idea. Okay, let's get into training. So like I said, I'm currently doing upper lower. What did that look like? Well, I switched from a 1 session per day to 2, which is weird because my volume's already low, but I figured, you know what, I'm at uni, I love the gym. I'm living above the gym this year, so might as well try and split up the volume just a bit and put the exercises that I still want to prioritize, but not have at the end of the workout, just in my PM session. So what I'm doing right now is I'm only recording my AM sessions because it's like too much. There's also like boring stuff I put at the end, but for example, for upper, you guys see the videos, right? So tricep compound, like jam press, bicep compound, a chest press, incline chest press or incline bench, whatever, a barbell back movement, keeping it very basic right now. Stuff I can replicate at any gym because the plan is, years and years of progressive overload, right? And then that's basically it for the morning. Those 4 movements, usually 1 to 2 working sets each. Doing 2 right now, so that's like, I guess 8 working sets. And then that's basically the longest workout I'll have in my split. From there, it's just, come back down to the PM to the gym that's just right underneath me. And I just hit a little bit of shoulders, so I'm currently doing 2 to 3 sets total on shoulders, rear delt, side delt, and maybe like some like rear side, or just another set of side delts, depends on the day. And so, usually with cables, nothing too fancy, but you can definitely do that with free weights too and have a great time. So, but that is the current split, very simple, pretty low volume, going from 1 to 2 working sets, trying it out, seeing how it goes. Biceps are still sore from 2 days ago, but taking the rest day, so it's fine. And then, if I can hit that consistent 48 to 72 hour recoverability period, I'll keep the volume there because science basically shows if you can up the volume and keep the recoverability at a good point, you're better off upping volume for the most part, right? I think 2 versus 1 sets, the benefits are pretty clear. So, all right, in terms of leg days, fun stuff, right? hey, 3 times a week, same thing. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday consists of a ham curl exercise to start the day. I like to warm up my knees with hamstrings first, just in isolation. So hamstring curl, seated hamstring curl, better than lying because of the stretch you get with your hips being forward generally. If you prefer lying though, I mean, it's not going to end your days. And that's what I used to do the majority of when I started out. It's all we had in my high school gym, and I loved it, right? So, but then, and that's also like why this analysis paralysis stuff is ridiculous, right? Because most people freak out about like, oh, like, I need this exercise, I'm not going to be optimal. It's like, man, like, and I do the same thing, but it's like, dude, realistically, I made the majority of my gains when I was starting out. And yes, they were newbie games, they were easier to get by, but I made the majority just freaking fucking around, man, in my high school gym. Didn't have a leg extension, didn't have a, maybe that explains a lot, I don't know, but had like, honestly, some, looking back, mediocre equipment. Now we had some good stuff too. We had a leg press, squat rack, pull down machine. We had everything you need, right? But we didn't have, what is quote unquote the most optimal movements. Still made fine progress. So anyways, I digress. Let's get back to the main topic. Hamstring curl, first exercise on my leg day, 2 sets, 1 to 2 sets, depends on the day. And then to leg extension, 1 to 2 sets. And then a nice lengthened movement for the quads. And I might make a video on this, on like length versus partials, because it is interesting. Essentially, squats or leg press. Currently I'm just doing squats, but I'm thinking about maybe incorporating some leg press. But squats though, heel elevated 1 day a week, which is on my Saturday lift, because I cannot get into the big gym usually. So I do downstairs in my college gym, and they don't have adductors, so I prefer to do, instead of going, hamstring curl, leg extension, squats, and then adductor, which is what I normally do. 1 set of adductor at the end. I do lying hamstring curls, that's all I have, and then 2 sets of elevated heel squats of more quad bias, because they also don't have the leg extension, right? And then I finish off with 2 sets of the legs. It's one of those seated leg presses, which kind of sucks, but like the machine ones. But 2 sets of that still feels good, and that hits kind of the adductors and my glutes more so, right? So that's great. But and I had a good session yesterday with that. It was awesome. And then in the PM, obviously I didn't mention the gastroc calves, and I love training those first usually. So I push those the first exercise in my PM session. So I'm gonna see how this kind of works for me, because I know usually, I do calves first. It feels damn good. But I figured, we can push it back, we can make the workout shorter, and still they'll be prioritized, at least from a recoverability standpoint, because I'll be hitting them every 48 hours, right? That doesn't change at all. So, we will see. We shall see. But they're also not a very fatiguing muscle to hit. So if I were to hit them at the start of my workout, it's not like I'd really be more fatigued than if I just put them at the end of my PM session. So I don't know. Maybe we'll switch back, especially once school starts and I have all my obligations. Like right now, I'm kind of in like a free zone a little bit before classes start, is what I mean. So we'll see. But what else? Finally, abs, 1 set, give or take. 1 set of usually gastroc and abs. I don't do 2 sets of calves just because they tend to fatigue very quick. For me, I've learned that I need less is more for calves. For most of my body parts, actually. But calves particularly don't recover very quick, probably because I walk a lot as well. But, abs, I do like 1 set now, just cable crunch. Probably going to alternate that and hanging leg raises, because I do like how they feel in my lower abs, but, it's all the same muscle. You can kind of activate more earlier because of, depends, I guess, where you flex, right? The bottom or the top, but as long as you're training, your abs are going to grow, right? Any other muscle, same principles. So that is the current check-in. Hope you guys enjoyed. But it's also for me. It's also for me, to have this reference. Nice thing about YouTube is once you post all this stuff, it's always there. It's all labeled. It's sorted by date. You can always go back and reference. And sometimes it's nice to be like, man, I put on no muscle in 5 months. What the fuck is going on? I'm the same. But no, it's nice to be able to go back and be like, hey, that's what I was doing then. Did it work? Did it not work? Well, take out your trusty pad and take notes. So that is the plan. Also, guys, if you don't follow my Insta, I post meals, every single meal I eat, all the macros every single day, literally on the dot, on the moment. And also I post workout check-ins before and afters, morning check-ins and workout check-ins. So if you're not following, stone.science on Instagram, you're missing out, seriously. So just a thought. But also, additionally, I was at one point posting my workout progress, so if you actually do want to know what I actually hit for every workout in my AM and PM sessions, that was getting posted for a while. I think currently I'm taking a break because I switched to taking notes physically. So every week I guess I'll probably post pics, if not every day, of the workout. But if you're interested in that, you know, take a peek. Also, I tend to put some effort into the music selection for the post, so if you like that, you like that, right? Not to mention I do other videos I don't post here sometimes, like nutrition education, exercise education. I'll just post a little reel or something, you know. But yeah. So if you're trying to get everything out of Stone Science, maybe follow there. And I am also trying to get a website up and running, but you know, it's one of those things you got to do before you just keep yapping about it. So that said, I'm walking about the slowest pace I've ever walked in the morning steps. So I'm going to end this here. This is a long video at this point, almost close to probably 20 minutes. So I'm going to cut it here, like I said, but that is a check-in. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys for the next freaking video. Hopefully soon, hopefully tomorrow, for a bit of, I guess what would be upper for the start of another 6-day upper rotation, except not a full 6 days, because I will be hiking towards the end of next week. But, you know, I digress. We'll get there when we get there. Catch you guys in a bit. Thanks for checking in.